Alright, I think we're good. I think I've got all the bugs worked out. Let me just cut this down a bit. Still hear it, but not overwhelming. Alright, hopefully that's good. If that music's too loud, let me know. I've got the chat up here so I can see. But, yeah. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. I'm not going to worry too much about speaking to camera. This is really just, for me, it's an inking session to work on this page. So this is a lineup of characters that I worked on last week. So you can see that I've kind of made some progress on this page. Kind of using this as, zoom in a little bit here. Using this kind of as my rubric for designing my characters. So as I'm iterating and, you know, doing different panels and things for my novel, I can reference this as sort of like a reference lineup sheet for my characters. Just to see the different heights and things like that. Alright, so I'm getting super distracted by this live stream. So let me move it over here. See the chat there, and I will look at cameras there. Chat there, camera there. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so like I said, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer anything, but I'm going to focus primarily on inking and just getting sort of into the flow state. But of course, if you have any questions or thoughts or whatever, let me know. The camera may go in and out here and there. I've been having some issues with it, so if it does, I'll try to stay on top of that visually. It's right in front of me. So, but anyways, I'm probably going to just get started by doing some lines, just because I'm starting from nothing. I haven't had any drawing today, so I just want to do some, get a feel for the pens that I'm using. So this one is a soft tip. It's the Tombow, I'm going to butcher the name, Fudenosuke brush pen. It's a soft tip, so it's got kind of a flexible tip there. I've got a reason that I'm using these, opposed to something like a traditional like dip pen with like India ink. I like using this, but for me, and it could seriously just be the nib that I have here, but for me it's a the line width variation on it. I like to be a little bit more messy. I don't know if messy is the right word. Loose. And I feel like just having a pen with a flexible nib on it helps me in that regard. So all I'm trying to do here is just get a feel for how that the tip of that pen works. I'm very familiar with this pen, but it's always good to sort of get a feel for it before you go into a page. If you're just joining, I'm just doing some warm-up lines. I haven't drawn today yet, but I'm going to be working on this page. This is a character lineup for my graphic novel. Just trying to get a feel for this pen before I start actually applying ink. I want to be loose, but I don't want to be so loose that I get messy, if that makes sense. Alright, kind of is what it is. Let's just get into it. Like I said, I'm going to be very loosely, I'll pay attention to the chat and everything, but I'm primarily going to be just focusing on the artwork. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask below. Yeah, okay, I'm going to get started here. I don't know if I want to use the soft tip or the hard tip. I'm going to start with the soft. So this one's got a hard tip, this one's got a soft tip. I'm going to start with the soft and see how that goes. Okay. I'm going to cut my camera off here. If I need to bring it back in, I will. I'm going to use this paper here. There we go. raise the desk up just slightly. So if you're just joining, I'm working on character lineup for as reference for my graphic novel, The Forest Guardians. So I'm kind of starting on this rock golem here. He's kind of more of a generic design, but I just wanted to start with something. And these are the main characters here, and then these are some more just worldly characters that you might stumble upon. Just to give me an idea of a lot of different character types and designs. So I'll end up using this sheet as a reference as I do page layouts and all of that. Which I have already started my novel, but about 6 pages in I realized maybe I should have a reference sheet, because I noticed slight differences in my character's heights and other things. So I was like, yeah, I really probably need to nip that in the bud real quick. Hence, a reference sheet. If you have any questions, let me know. Sorry, I do not like this song. There we go. If you like this playlist, this is the hunts on Artlist. The first issue of this graphic novel, hopefully, is set to be released towards the end of January of 2026. That's my goal anyways, but that may change, just depending on the finances that go into it and whatnot. But that's my goal. Planning on being at Mysticon as a guest artist there. So I should have printed copies there, or at least pre-order. I'm not entirely sure about these runes here. I may keep them. Hey, thanks a lot in the chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, these are characters for my graphic novel, so if you like them, the one I'm working on now is kind of more of a generic creature. He appears in one of the issues later on, but these are the main characters here. So yeah, just doing a sort of character lineup as a reference sheet. I think I will do these runes kind of loosely. Yeah, if you like these characters, I've got more videos on my channel that kind of go into a bit more of the graphic novel process. Don't have a whole lot yet. I'm still kind of in the early stages of it, but this is kind of me setting in stone some design and all of that stuff. I'm probably about halfway through the first issue right now, and kind of reworking some final designs as far as proportions and whatnot goes. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Like I said, today is just going to be kind of a chill hang out with me and while I ink this. Later on I will do maybe a watercolor pass or something, or I might do digital. The way that I've been doing the graphic novel so far, I guess you really say comic so far, is inking traditionally and then going back in with digital colors and Photoshop. So yeah, I'll scan this for sure, or take a nice quality picture of it and then do colors digitally, but I may just have a traditional piece as well with some watercolor. I think that could be cool. Or I've got these Derwent Inktense inks. I may use those, but these are definitely a lot less forgiving, and I'm not sure I want to mess this up just yet. Let me find my eraser. I'm going to go ahead and erase the pencils underneath this guy. It's a sign of a good eraser when it just falls apart. Unless it leaves residue. A little bit of ink smudge there. Alright. Yeah, I think I like this Fudenosuke. I don't know. It's Japanese. Tombow pen with the soft tip. I think the soft tip gives me a little bit more line weight variation. So I think I like that. Alright. Moving on here. I don't know if I'm ready to tackle the main characters yet. I might just jump into it. But I might have to do another pencil pass over that before I'm ready. Let me start working up here. Actually, let me go back in with pencil real quick. I think I want to detail out a little bit more of this just so I know what's going on. So this guy's got these like crests because he's a salamander lizard type situation. And they're on either side of his tail. Just make sure that gets in there. Otherwise, he's just a little chubby salamander. He's gonna have this backpack on just to make it. It's part of his character arc and whatnot, but makes it easier for this guy to grab him. All right, we're just gonna go for it. All right. So these guys are like the guardians, you know, in the forest guardians. Think of them like shepherds of the forest. Very traditional int vibes if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings or anything like that. Heavily inspired by that. Kind of my own take and my own twist on them, giving them more Celtic sort of roots. They're also going to be very like, they're going to be wise, but they're not all going to be very like, they're going to be all very unique in their own design. So just like you have different trees and different species and stuff like that, you're going to have a lot of different variations of this type of character. In my world building, this is sort of like if you go like the druid route, where you're gonna practice that sort of training to protect the forest and become a forest guardian. Your eventuality will be this, so you will become one with nature over, you know, centuries of service and dedication and all of that stuff. Still flushing a lot of that out in the storytelling for the novel, but that's sort of the loose, almost like a, not quite a myth, but it's sort of the legends of, you know, these are the druids of old who have fostered care and take balance in the forest and all of those things. So, all right, I'm gonna go pencil for a minute. I'd like to give this guy, instead of just vines here, they kind of look like a shawl anyways. So I'm going to give him this sort of half shawl. It's going to be kind of like moss. Or like layered leaves or something. Yeah, I'll be the first one to tell you that my character designs and influences and, you know, overarching storytelling and those kinds of things are definitely influenced by the media and stories that I like, whether in popular culture or from history or whatever else. I very much like Robin Hood. I like Lord of the Rings. So this to me is going to be kind of the marriage of all of my different loves and storytelling and all of that. So, and it's my first big project like this that I've done. So I know it's not going to be the absolute best and original that it could be, given a lot more practice and time and dedication, but I am going to pour everything I have into it. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be worth, you know, I think each issue I'm going to try to do around this. None of this is final, but each issue I'm going to try to have about a 36-page comic. And then, you know, every 5 issues or something, I'll kind of try to put that into a big book. But so far I have about 11 issues planned for the story that I have in mind. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm planning to have the first one by the end of January 2026. if you followed along on my channel or art journey or whatever you want to call it, I actually I kickstarted this project. It wasn't a graphic novel at the time. It was going to be an illustrated novel. If you're familiar with like Dinotopia or something like that, it was going to be in that same vein. I raised a little over $15,000, I think, for it. But unfortunately, the way that I decided to do it, my costs and everything were a little prohibitive. Just because I was thinking about, making it the absolute best I could. And so I had about a $30,000 goal that I wanted to hit. And in hindsight, I wish that I hadn't had set it so high. But I think it was good because now it's evolved into something that I think is a little better suited to tell the story. Because initially I was just going to rely on like writing and do like an illustration on every page or every other page, which I think would have been good. I just think that this is going to lend itself much more to my style, my type of art. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm glad it happened. If you backed that project on Kickstarter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and stay tuned because this time I will have a finished product that I am just going to kickstart potentially. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but if I do kickstart it, it's just going to be the printing costs. And I'm not going to build in any of my time on the illustrations like I tried to do last time. So yeah. Stay tuned for that. We'll see. I may do each issue as a Kickstarter, or if I, do the first issue and then make some money, then I'll put that money aside to pay for future issues, printing cost. I might just do a pre-order. It just depends. A pre-order is pretty nice, so I've got a couple of relationships with some printers locally, so I can get a price and just do a pre-order on a website or something. And that might be a little wiser. I'm not really sure what this guy's necklace is. I don't think I really have to know. I like to think there's some kind of like large seed pod or something he found fascinating and fashioned a necklace out of. One word of advice, if anybody watches this who's considering doing something like this of their own, whether it's a graphic novel, comic, or any self-published or Kickstarter project or anything like that where you're considering, trying to create something that people will want to buy or want to fund. One thing I would say is just make the thing, and then when you have a really good product that you're happy with and you're content with like how it's going to be made and all of that, then at that point I would say take it to the masses, and share it and gain interest on it. Because the creation of the thing too will get people interested and excited. Whereas if you just come out the gate with a thing, no one's had any stake in it. And so if you can, along the process, involve people and get their insight and, ideas and all of that, then they're going to be involved in it. I did none of that. And so when I did my Kickstarter for the first rendition of the Forest Guardians, it was, I think I had like a handful of illustrations that were like in my head final illustrations, and I was not happy with them. In hindsight, I should have just canceled or not even started the project, the Kickstarter project. But I was in a place situationally, financially, where I was trying to use that as an income, and you really can't do that. You have to be in a place where if you're going to do a Kickstarter project that's based on some kind of art or book or art book, whether it's a graphic novel, illustration, any creative project, I think you have to have the final thing. Save for like, filmmaking or something like that where you have a really good pitch. I had a great pitch, and I spent a lot of time on all the graphics, all the information, a video. In hindsight, I could have done it better, of course, but I thought I had a really good Kickstarter as far as the actual campaign went. And I raised, like I said, $15,000 or something like that. I was over 50% funded, but I was asking for a price that included my illustration fees, because I was thinking, oh, well, if I just, raise the money to pay myself for the illustrations, I can afford the time to work on it and finish it. You really can't do that. You have to have a finished, or at least mostly finished product for people to really invest in. I'm thankful that I got as much backing as I did. And from a lot of people I didn't know, which I was really surprised about. But I think that only goes so far before you have to have like a product that someone can actually see and invest in. So yeah, if you're going to do anything like that, I would just urge you to like sit back, think about it. Is it something you really need to do right now? Is it something you can sink time into and polish it and make it look nice? Because ideas are great, but until they're like actually in your hands and people can see like what it is, it's going to be super hard to raise that money. And if you can do it, go for it. But I thought I was the exception. I always do. And I was not. Afterwards, I was like, you know what? People are right. People have done this before, kind of know what they're talking about. And I was confident that I would have delivered on what I promised. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to be able to do it and do it well in the time frame that I wanted it to do it in. But in hindsight, I would have been a slave to that one particular idea. And this way I can, doing it on my time, I'm doing this on a whim. If it doesn't do well, people aren't going to buy it, but I'll still have the thing. And ultimately, I think I needed to have some time with it to recognize why I was doing it. And now I think I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I'm doing it for the story. I'm doing it for the sake of seeing something that I made, not only in my own hands, but in the hands of other people who can enjoy it and appreciate it. And hopefully it'll speak to them and they can, through the message of the story, whether they relate to it or I'm trying to convey something to people. So hopefully it resonates. I will say, if you like what you're seeing, oh hey Ruth, yeah, all the little details, I mean, that just makes it. It's nothing but details. A lot of moss, a lot of leaves, a lot of simplifying textures for the sake of getting them down. But if you like what you're seeing and you like art and you like graphic novels, go check out my buddy. His Twitch name, I think, is Grumpy Warlock, and he does occasional streams. Not sure if he has a set schedule, but I always try to catch his stuff when he does it. He has a really cool art style. Go check him out. He's really cool. He has this really cool concept. I'm not sure how much he's talked about it. Sort of like a modern fantasy. If like modern fantasy met like punk emo kind of vibes, it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. And I'm mentioning him so that he'll get his butt back to drawing. So if you're watching this, called you out. I can't do this alone, man. I need a graphic novel buddy who I can stream with. But yeah, go check him out. Go give him some love. It's Grumpy Warlock on Twitch. I'm not sure if he streams anywhere else or just on Twitch, but that's where I watch him. I probably need to look into Twitch. I think I have an account, but I'm sure a lot more people watch live streams there than on YouTube. I'm just so used to YouTube, and I'm trying to build an audience here. Which, if you subscribed in the last month, thank you. I've had about 20 new subscribers, probably within the last month and a half. And to me, that's a big deal. You know, if one person watches my stuff, I'm super stoked. But the fact that 20 people who I don't really know, or people I just met out and about, and they subscribe because they like what I do. I'm just here to make cool stuff, and if it resonates with you, if you like it, I'm just glad you do. So feel free to interact and let me know if you want to see something. I've got some paintings coming up that are some more traditional like paintings that I have some videos on that I'm going to release on my YouTube channel. Other than that, I get up to stuff all the time. Shenanigans. And I like to make videos. So, little lizard guy. Yeah, I kind of had to do that. Just if his character in the story is very inquisitive, very curious, and I could just imagine him like, you know, he was trying to climb the tree or something, and then the guy's like, "Hey, that's my leg." So yeah, I really like the dynamic, and I did this lineup so that I could not only have a reference for like the style and the proportions, but also the personality. I just wanted something that I could like consistently look at to keep that top of mind. So this guy's name is Eliezer. So he's one of my favorite characters. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. You don't have to. You're more than welcome to just lurk and watch as you want on occasion. Subscribing just honestly makes me feel better about myself. Not really, but I do want to release more videos. Like I said, I've got a couple in the works. So hopefully you won't be disappointed, but if you ever are, just unsubscribe. It's that easy. But let me know what kind of stuff you like to see too. I'm not going to cater so much to popular opinion, but if you have a question or thought about something, I'd be happy to kind of explore it or If there's a medium you like, I have pretty much done every single medium there is. Save some like sculptural stuff, but even then I've done that. So if there's something that you like, that you're interested in, that you want to see me tackle, just let me know. I just realized I'm off camera here. These live streams are basically just a way for me to stay committed to a project and hang out and talk, because I like to talk. At the beginning of this, I said I wasn't going to talk, and here I am talking. It's also just very cathartic on a Sunday afternoon. Could be taking a nap right now, but instead I am drawing. I'm also going to Ren Fair this weekend, so that's exciting. First one will have ever been to. Super excited about that. I've got some ideas for costume and costume. Is that what you say? Costume, outfit, clothes. I have no idea what we're listening to now. It's Still the Hunts on Artlist. So if you're interested in the music you're listening to, look them up. I think they're on Spotify. It's The Hunts, Hunts. Kind of a folksy band. I am using a lot of their music in my short film. If you're interested in that, go check out my business's YouTube, which is Booth 42 Studio. That is on YouTube here. I'll probably be releasing some behind the scenes content for that. I see your question. Give me a minute. I'm going to finish up here. Okay. When creating the characters, do you come up with the physical aspects of the character or their personality first? Good question. I think it depends on, like, if it's a main character. So, like this guy, for instance. I've drawn him a bunch, and he's evolved. I think they inform each other. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer. The physical appearance informs the personality, and the personality informs the appearance. It's a little different than if you're like writing a book or something, which I guess I am doing, but it's a graphic novel, so it's very visual. So instead of just relying on like descriptions and like monologue, I'm also relying on physical appearance to communicate personality right away. So I have to let the drawing influence that a little bit. But there are times like, where I would say like this character, he's like the wise mentor. I knew he was going to be a centaur, but like as far as the features and everything, that was all influenced by personality. Because I wanted him to be slightly prim and proper, but also a little bit more like Spartan-esque in his design. So he's very like cut to the point. There's like yes, no answers, but he's also a little like, just in the design here, you can see he's slightly like, I wouldn't say hesitant, but he's kind of that guy who's like standing in the background going, hold on a second, you're not allowed to do that. So I didn't really have that personality trait in mind until I did this drawing. So in some ways, the drawing will influence me to think, oh, I drew him with this expression on his face. So let me then incorporate that into the story. I have the luxury of doing that because a lot of my outline can fluctuate depending on like the comic layout, like the panel layout. And I can get away with a lot of subcontext with just the drawing. Which I'm glad that I am sticking to this format instead of doing my initial illustrated kind of novel. Because I feel like this affords me a lot more freedom in the designs and just also in like the movement of the characters, because I feel like that will influence a lot as far as like personality goes. Alright, I'm going to tackle this guy's face. But like for instance, this guy, Teague, Teague, he's very much like a scaredy cat, but he's this big, like sort of beefy, porky, maybe that's a better word. But he's kind of a scaredy cat, and he's like super hesitant, but it's like in direct contrast to his like character design, like the physical aspects of him. So a little bit of that is like you have to push those things in order to convey. Because if I just kind of drew him as is, straight on, he can be an imposing figure. But you really have to like, he gets kind of small and in himself, and that kind of betrays his confidence a little bit. So it's different things like that like I have to think about when I'm kind of designing them. And each panel, each time I draw them, I have to remind myself, what their personality is, which is kind of why I wanted to put the personality here. Just to kind of keep a constant reminder to myself of like, oh yeah, even though he can stand up to full height, he's usually hunched down because he wants to make himself smaller, because he always feels like he's taking up space. So yeah, good question. I'm glad you asked that, because I don't think a lot about that. I kind of just do it. But it is good things for me to think about. Let's see if I get that music back up. Let's do this one. You're probably going to hear a lot of repeats on this playlist, because it's just going through the same thing over and over, because I pay for this license. So, and this is honestly some of my favorite music on this platform, on Artlist. Yeah, great. I mean, I love the questions. Keep them coming. So find that I figure out personality first. It's easier to think that way first. Yeah, it is. I mean, especially like, I could sit down and I could write out the outline without thinking at all about, personality or anything else like that. Or without thinking about the physical traits, I mean. But to a point, I have to think about a graphic novel in terms of almost like a movie screenplay, and almost write it in that context. Which I think is why I struggled with it for so long. Because I was constantly like, well, I have this idea, but I don't know if it's going to really work out. But when I started treating it like a movie, where I'm like forming scenes and like cut scenes and close-ups and wide shots, then I have to think about the physical aspect of it. And I think that grounds me a little bit. Because in a graphic novel, you can only have so much text and so much description. A lot of it is going to be the actual, like, physical art. And so I have to remind myself not to, like, get so caught up in the descriptions, which I love to do. Very Tolkien-esque in my descriptions. It sounded very, like, haughty of me to just compare myself to Tolkien. But I am. I could take 3 pages to describe something, but in a graphic novel, more often than not, you get 1 panel to say, you know, what you want to say. But a picture's worth 1,000 words, they say, so as long as I can do it in that framework, then I should be alright. But yeah, it's hard for me to sometimes wrap my head around that, thinking of it more as a, like, screenplay. I'll get caught up sometimes in wanting to, like, do the transitionary things of, like, and they walked to here, and here's what they did while they were walking, when in actuality I could just be like, and then they're outside of this guy's house. Instead of being so linear, I can do some jumps. So thinking about it in, like, screenplay for that context really helps. Because then I can be like, well, this scene will jump here, that scene will jump there. Yeah, great question. So I'm trying really hard in my inking to let the looseness of the pencils kind of shine through. Which is kind of difficult, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. So working on that fantasy film script, definitely having to just focus on dialogue, and just trust that, like, you know, your vision will come through. And a lot of that, I think, what's helpful for me when I'm thinking through some of this stuff, I use, like, Milanote, which is just like a note-taking application. I love it. It's very visual-oriented, which helps me a lot. But I will do mood boards. And so if I have an idea for a scene and I can't get, like, I'm describing it too much and I can't get it out of my head to move on, I will literally just, like, put together a mood board. And that's just literally visually like, hey, this is what I want this to look like. I find that helps me stay away from getting too bogged down, because then I can just reference that mood board. Especially when it comes to art, because I need reference more often than not. Like if I'm going to design something that's grounded in reality, which I don't often do, honestly. Most of my stuff is from my own imagination. But if it is something that I need reference for, I love using Milanote just to collect reference. Pinterest is great for that. You just have to be careful not to get too influenced by everything. But yeah, it's definitely similar to a stage play in that regard, where you can have the set building and all those things in mind and the choreography, but at the end of the day, if those things don't match with the dialogue, which is honestly one of the hardest things for me doing a graphic novel, is making sure that my dialogue is going to match all the visuals and I've got room to put everything together. So doing it like a screenplay is, I think for me, that's key. Let's do these little birds. Not too worried about getting anything accurate here on these guys. They're just for... Well, definitely didn't get that guy accurate. Anyways. Yeah, alright. Don't know how much more I'm going to do tonight. Let's see, it's 6:10. Well, I started probably around almost close to 5. Oh, 78 minutes ago. Okay. I'm going to erase this up, take a look at it, see what I think. I'm going to have to get some new erasers, that's for sure. So I think my goal right now is to kind of have a pace of 2 pages a week in order to have it done by the deadline that I've set for myself. And if you're local or feel like traveling, we'll be at Mysticon 2026 in Roanoke, Virginia. And so I should have, if I don't have copies there, I will have a pre-order open for the first issue of this graphic novel. Really, I should be saying comic, but I'm so used to saying graphic novel, so I'll stick with that. Alright. Anything else? Cool. So a lot of this will come together with the color. This is just the inks are to ground everything. So yeah, I think we'll call it there. I'm not quite ready to hit like the main characters. I'd like to give that a little more attention with the pencils before jumping into that. But I like the level of looseness that I'm getting. I might even aim for a little bit more boldness with the brush pens. You know, pushing the darks and lights, kind of like in here, where I don't want to go too far. You know, just pushing some of that. Again, I don't want to get too caught up in all that, but you can already start to see how doing that kind of help read better. But a lot of this I need to like take some time to decide how much I want to do that with inks versus doing it with the color and shadows. I think that's where I get caught up. You know, because I could go through and do that for the whole thing and it reads better for inks, but when I go to do color, am I going to want that much shadow? So yeah, that's just something I have to consider before really heavily moving forward. But yeah, anyways, thank y'all for watching. I will likely stream again next week. Actually, I will not stream again next week because I will be out of town at a Ren Fair. Or coming back from a Ren Fair, rather. So, I will see you probably the week after that, or sometime. We'll see. I have no idea. But, yeah, hope you enjoyed that little behind-the-scenes look of inking characters for the graphic novel. And I will see you guys next time. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure, if you want to, that's there if you want to do it. I am going to try to release, you know, a couple videos a month at least. going forward, and obviously try to do weekly live streams as I can. So would love for it if you would consider subscribing, but only if you want to, only if you think it's worth it. Stick around for a little bit longer, catch more of my stuff, and if you like me eventually, then you can subscribe. But I do a bunch of artwork, a bunch of painting, a lot of different art mediums, so if you like that kind of stuff, then that's what you'll find here. So, alright y'all, thank you.